Hey everybody, welcome back to Reselling History. This is Scott. I got two boxes in front of me, you guys, and I bought both of these on eBay. A lot of people ask me, where do I get my vintage watches? And the number one place I source from is eBay. Now, don't get me wrong, eBay can be very overpriced sometimes. You have a buttload of competition, millions of people perhaps, looking at something that you're searching for as well. There's also a lot of junky watches on eBay, so you really have to be sure or just have that gut instinct that something could be good. This is one of those examples here. So we got two boxes, both are from the same seller. The top box I paid around $40 for, and the bottom one, I think after taxes and shipping, came out to like $250. So I purchased this one first from the seller. I purchased it right away because there were some really good Seiko watches in there, and I looked at their other listings and they had just listed this other vintage watch collection, and this one I almost didn't buy it. I went away from the listing and then I went back to double check it, and I had to zoom in really close, and I thought I saw something special. I thought I saw an old Omega Seamaster watch, but we're gonna find out for sure right now. So first up, if you like this type of content, you guys, the vintage watches, don't hesitate to subscribe. I really appreciate the support, everybody. And let's get the top box open first. All right, so I think around $40 I paid for this watch collection. I do believe it's all Seikos. They all seem to be vintage, probably maybe the past 20-30 years. There was one that was really cool looking, and that's what really made me pick up the whole lot. But $40 for Seikos, a little collection like this, is a pretty good deal. So we'll save that one for last. But right here, I think most of these are going to be quartz battery powered Seikos. So this one's in pretty rough condition, and man, this bracelet is pretty shot too. You can see how unstable that bracelet is, just very loose. But then again, there's people who like a cheap Seiko. Here's another one here. I think this is, I was gonna say this is a lady's watch perhaps. It's quite small. It's probably even too small for my wrist. So that's a lady's Seiko. And right here is another vintage lady Seiko quartz watch. So another battery powered watch. This one's a pretty nice one right here. Let's take a close look at this. Got a pretty nice blue dial on there. Good condition. The bracelet is in a lot better condition on this one. This one's probably more modern. Yeah, this is a nice one right here. Now, I have to look up the model number to know the exact price, but I do feel like a lot of these Seikos from the 90s, 2000s era are around the same price. So with a new battery, it's probably like a, I don't know, maybe a $50 Seiko. So that should probably pay for everything as long as it works. It could not work also, so that would be a loss. Here's another one here. This is another male's Seiko, 50mm. Yeah, this is a nice looking one too, gold. There's another vintage quartz Seiko. This one's in pretty scratched up condition. And then here's the last one. This is the one that really caught my eye. I thought it looked really neat. As you can see, it's a nice black dial. Looks very sporty. You got the date calendar indicator. Seiko Quartz DX. Never heard of a DX model. It looks very sporty. Crystal is pretty scratched up. But just based on the look of the Seiko, it's probably worth a little bit more, maybe around $100 for it. So in that whole lot, I have 3 watches that I can easily flip and turn a profit on. So that's a good little collection. But this whole Seiko lot led me to one larger vintage lot, and you guys are really gonna like this. So here is that larger watch collection I purchased. This is around $250 worth, and the seller of this stuff, I only saw this collection, the Seiko one, and a couple other watch lots that they were selling. It doesn't look like they specialized in watches, so I do think if that is an Omega watch, they missed out on researching it. They probably just assumed that it was any other vintage watch, and they just threw it all together, and they wanted to get rid of it all at once. So there are some more little junky watches in here. What collection is complete without an old, I won't even say really old, but those are mass produced, those Mickey Mouse watches. Here's a pretty unique one. This is a CompuCron. And once again, I've said this before, but these things like never work for me. These old electronic watches, the battery terminals are usually shot, and even if they're clean and not corroded, they still don't work most of the time. Now there are some, like I said, a lot of not so great watches in here also. Here are some of those lower dollar watches. I'll probably just lot all of these up together. Here is a vintage Lucerne watch. Unfortunately, it's missing its crown. I noticed a lot of this stuff looks like it's probably not in running condition, but this one's got a pretty cool dial. It has like a little airplane on the left hand side. It says lifetime mainspring. So this is probably a really cheap mechanical movement inside. Here is a vintage Waltham, and this is a nice looking watch from the 1960s. Unfortunately, this is not running, so that's going to be a parts watch, but it's not bad. I could already tell you that this is not a real Tag Heuer watch. Yeah, this thing is like so junky and so cheap. This is a knockoff watch. There's another vintage Mickey Mouse watch made by, I think, US Time Corp. So that's probably made by Ingersoll. Now this watch, I didn't really notice in the listing photos, but now that I'm looking at it, this looks like a pretty interesting old Citizen watch. I do think, yeah, this is definitely a quartz watch, battery powered Citizen. And it's got like these little wings on there right above the logo. It almost looks like a pilot's watch. And if it is, it's probably from the 1980s or so. I'm gonna have to do some research on this one. I don't know too much about old Citizens, but vintage Citizen watches, they can be quite collectible, and there are a lot of enthusiasts out there for Citizen. So this might be some money right here. And we got your typical vintage Bulova watch, probably from the 1950s. Does this one run? Nope, it is overwound. Original crown. That's going to be a repair watch, but oh yes, this is beautiful. I saw this in the listing, and that really caught my eye even before I noticed the potential Omega Seamaster. This is an old Westclox, probably 1960s. It's got a world time rotating bezel. This is a really neat looking watch. Wow, 17 jewel. I'm gonna just, well, crown is not turning, it's overwound, but the second hand did move a bit. It's gonna need a service for sure, but when you think of Westclox, you probably think it's not too valuable, but they do have some watches that are quite beautiful. And I actually personally, I have a Westclox from the Vietnam War era. It was a military issue watch, and it is so beautiful. I'll show you guys that watch soon. But this Westclox right here is very beautiful as well. This is like a skin diver, probably 1960s, maybe early 70s. But this might be worth getting repaired. I'm gonna just go on a limb and say this is a rare watch, and if it's running, it's probably worth at least a couple $100. Okay, we're making progress. I know in some of my older videos, I get people comment and they say they get worried for me because I'm mostly pulling out junk in the beginning. Well, I try to leave the better watches for last, so that's kind of the strategy. Here's another Bulova watch. This is a 1980s quartz watch. And let's see what kind of watch this is. I'm very surprised that there is a ladies Omega watch in here. And this is a tiny one, a little dainty Omega. We found our first Omega, and this is not even the one I saw in the photos. This is a ladies little dainty cocktail Omega watch. It's got a pretty bracelet as well. It's like a suede middle in there. And it's not going to be solid gold. It's probably a gold filled or gold plated bezel. But man, this thing is tiny. So let me see if I can turn this. So far, I hear it ticking. This is like the first watch so far that has been running when I turn the crown. So that's a good sign. I'll test this one out, but that's a great find. There is a market for ladies' watches. As you guys know, it's not quite as hot as men's watches. It's not quite as valuable, but the better the watch brand, the better the market will be, and that's true with this Omega. If it is running, it's probably worth, I'd be hoping maybe a $100 bill, so that's a great find. Next up, I have never had a jump hour dial watch, and this one is Heritage Digital Swiss. It's got like a navy blue color to it, got a kind of wacky looking bracelet. It's probably an original bracelet because it matches it perfectly. And wow, it's not in bad condition. It just needs to be cleaned up. It's pretty dusty. Well, it is ticking. I'll have to test this out. This is the first jump hour watch I've ever had my hands on, actually. Interesting. I want to take off this back case and see what it looks like. So you can see the back of the case says so it says cased and timed in Switzerland, but the case was made in Hong Kong. Let's look at the movement, see if this is a Swiss movement. All right, now for the movement, I'm trying to be really careful because if I barely touch the crystal, the whole movement and dial pop up, so I don't want to misalign that or anything. But this is just a 1 jewel movement, and I think it says American Time Co. So I don't really know too much about that, but the watch is called American Heritage. So probably from the 1960s or 70s, was an inexpensive jump hour dial. But if this turns out to be running, it's probably another $100 bill watch if I get it cleaned up. That's what I think. I've never sold a jump hour, but they are quite desired. There's a nice market for them. It's a unique watch, so that's another great find. Okay, I'm just gonna try to get these lower dollar watches out of the way. Here's a pretty cool Benrus quartz watch. This is probably when things were being made in China. Has a Japan movement. Here's a vintage Ingraham watch. I was hoping this was gonna be solid gold. This is like a 1920s or 30s ladies Elgin watch. Unfortunately, I could already see that some of the plating is coming off right there. So that's just gonna be a repair watch. We have another vintage Hilton, so 2 Hilton watches, a couple more Mickey Mouse. Whoever this person was loved Mickey Mouse. let's go to the next watch. Pretty strange looking watch. This is a 17 jewel. I think it says JB, GB. Forgive me if I don't remember my cursive off the top of my head, but it's super beat up. That crown is very scratched up, but it is running. I'll do some more research on this. Kind of a interesting looking watch. This is a nice red arrow Waltham, and it does seem to be running when I wind that crown, so that's a potential watch I can sell right off the bat. And right here, this has a really cool Art Deco case to it. I love those lugs. Banner Watch Company. It's got some diamond studs, if they are real diamonds. And this is gonna be, oh, this one's not marked at all. Let's see if this is solid gold. All right, unfortunately, this is just a 14 karat gold filled, but I did get it running. I think I know the issue. One of those hands, the minute's hand, it does look kind of bent, so once that sweeps over the hour hand, it kind of gets stuck. So those hands need to be straightened out, but this is a cool looking Art Deco watch. All right, you guys, last but not least, this is that potential Omega Seamaster, and it is engraved on the back. So it's engraved to Ed L. Cook. It's dated 1956. Sorry for that reflection. It's from Grace and JB, so probably given to a father from his son and his wife. And here is the Seamaster. Wow, this is a beautiful looking dial. It's in a lot better condition than I expected. At least the outside components look pretty nice. This is a bumper Seamaster. Got a bumper mechanism. I actually have one bumper Omega in my collection, but it's not a Seamaster like this one. And it does seem to be running. The only problem is, I think the movement is rubbing up against the case lid inside. Because when I turn it this way, upside down, I just hear and feel the bumper mechanism. When I turn it this way, I can kind of hear a little scratching, rubbing sensation, and it doesn't wind as easily. So hopefully we'll take a look at that and see what that's about. But as far as metal content, this is 14 karat gold filled. So this is a great watch, you guys. Let's take that case off. Here's the back of that case lid, 14 karat gold filled. And then here is that movement. Dang, so it definitely is rubbing. Look at all those scratches and that surface wear to the movement. Man, that's too bad. Even though that movement is rubbing, it does seem to be running, which is a good sign, but I'm not really sure what kind of repair that's gonna need. You guys let me know in the comments, is that just gonna be a cleaning issue where if you clean up all that gunk, the movement's gonna sit a little bit deeper inside of the case, or is that a different type of issue? I really have no idea, so I'd appreciate anybody's feedback on that. This is a 344 movement, and you can see it right there. See the Omega says 344, so we'll look that up and see the potential value of this watch. And this might be, it probably is worth getting repaired, honestly. In running good condition, I'm just gonna throw a number, maybe a $400 or $500 watch. Well, that's it for this little watch collection, you guys. Here are my 3 favorite watches from the collection. I'm gonna say this is the most valuable, the Omega. I'm gonna say the Westclox is probably the rarest watch, and the Citizen is probably the most unique watch. So let me know in the comments which one of these is your favorite and what I should do with them.